Looks like Molly came to say hi again. She loves being in our videos. Anyways, Nathan Cox, thanks for joining us on Around the Home. Okay, this is a video I've been kind of putting off a little bit because I'm kind of, I don't want to kind of maybe know what's wrong. But anyways, so we got the outside faucet here on the house, okay? So it's a freeze-proof sillcock type faucet. And well, in the fall, there were some, end of the fall, into the winter, there were some days that got almost 60 degrees. So I was finishing up some yard work and I accidentally left the hose on and it got down to like 28 to 27 degrees. So spring is sprouting, okay, the trees are budding, and before I start using this hose again, I gotta check it. Okay, I told one of my neighbors this. I said, hey, you gotta check your hose 1 year. I said, you gotta check that faucet before you kick it in. Must. Well, whether they just forgot or they just didn't want to. Anyways, it flooded their basement, okay? Don't let this flood your basement. It can do thousands and thousands of dollars of damage to your home. So, I'm gonna show you the faucet. Okay, there it is, guys. And you can see it's a standard Woodford style outside, frost freeze sillcock. It doesn't matter if it's a Woodford style or if it's a different brand. They all can cause a lot of damage if they're cracked. Okay, so some of you are gonna have a question of, how do you know it's cracked and why isn't it flooding the house right now? Why, if it's cracked, why isn't it going all over the place? So we're actually gonna go to the chalkboard so I can kind of show you guys and explain it. You guys forgive me, my drawing's not perfect, but it really should do the job. Okay, so this is the outside part that you see, okay? Here's the spout where you attach the hose. Here's the handle, okay? And this is your house wall right here. Now the faucet doesn't just connect to a pipe right here. The actual faucet continues to go into the house many inches, and this is where it connects to a pipe. Now, how these work, okay? It's kind of interesting design. So right here where the handle is, there's a shaft that goes all the way to the end, okay? And then right here is where the shutoff is. So what that means is inside the house where it's warmer. That's why these are considered freeze-proof. It shuts off way back here, okay? So how it works is when you turn it on, water goes and fills this outer tube, okay? And then comes out the spigot. So when you shut it off, this water needs to be able to drain out of the faucet all the way, okay? So two things are gonna keep that from happening. One, if this is installed incorrectly and actually leans downward like this so water stays here, which actually I think may happen to my front faucet 2 years ago, but it's in a very hard place to get to, so I've just been ignoring it and using my back faucet, but now I've got to double check that, okay? And then the other thing, which is what happens 98% of the time, is people leave the hose on. So the hose is attached, so water never drains out, okay? And so this stays full of water. So what happens is it gets super cold outside, and right about here, almost every time, it will cause the outer copper to expand and split, okay? And that's why, okay? So for the earlier question is why is it not flooding my house right now? As long as the faucet is turned off, the water is still turned off here, okay? Nothing's happening. But as soon as you open this up, turn it on, you will get water coming out of your hose or your spigot, but there'll be a good portion of it coming out right here inside your wall. Now, depending on what you have, if you have a crawl space, this obviously is gonna cause mold and stuff like that, but hopefully it's not causing too much damage, it depends. If it's squirting straight down into the dirt, you're gonna have a water and mold issue, but not too much on damage, hopefully. But it could be squirting upward and blasting like your floor joist and your subfloor, and still causing a lot of damage. Now, if you have a walkout basement, like a lot of us do here in the Ozarks, and if this faucet is between the two floors, like my upstairs one, then it will completely flood out like the floor you're on and then the floor beneath it. And you could seriously have a $10,000 repair job, okay? My faucet here that we were just at is in the downstairs. So what's beneath it is gonna be a concrete slab, okay? But it can still obviously destroy, rot out the walls from the inside out, okay? So can't have that happen. And it's not like just spraying in the dirt, it's spraying inside my wall. Okay, so now I think you guys understand how this works and why this is so bad. Let's go back outside so we can identify where it is. Okay, now of course I have the hardest one of the hardest styles to get to. If you have an open, unfinished basement where you can just walk in there and see all the pipes above your head, then finding it is going to be super easy. If you have a crawl space where you can get under it, again, depending on how tight the crawl space is, but still pretty easy to get to and access and check it. Mine is inside the wall, okay? Now you can see this right here, this aluminum thing. So that's the vent for my gas fireplace downstairs. So I know it's between that and then the room over here. So I've got a window right over here behind me, and that's gonna be my point of reference. So I'm gonna measure from the edge of the window, which is pretty close to the edge of the sill, or the frame on the inside, and over. And what I got is I got 50 inches from the window to that. So now let's go into the bedroom and check that out. Okay, so I've measured from the window on over to the wall here to the left of me. And it should be just inside. It's showing me just a couple inches, maybe 3 inches inside the wall here. And now my gas fireplace is on a 45-degree angle on the other side of this. So there should be actually a good amount of open space right here in the corner. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna open up a small hole and run my scope in there and take a look at the faucet. Okay, so I know from outside the faucet is just a hair higher than the bottom of the window, which would be right about where the windowsill is. So it should be right about here is where my faucet should be. And then we'll have a stud here in the corner of the wall. So my drill point should be right about here, okay? Now my personal and professional opinion, if you have something like this in a wall, there really should be an access panel here. Now, I'm not going to put one in there right now. Now, if I have to repair the faucet, I'll open the wall up more and put an access panel. But for now, I'm just going to inspect it. So the nice thing about scopes is I can punch a hole about a 1/2 inch big and stick this in there, take a look, and if everything's okay, I'll just put some spackle in the hole, call it good. Well, actually, it's more like 3/4 of an inch on the hole, but it's still something I think I can still just shove spackle in most of the time. All right, and here's a crazy trick I learned a while back, which can help with some of these small projects like this. It's just taking some Post-its and using them to create like a little shelf here to catch the dust. Drywall dust is very hard in vacuums, so it's better to do that and throw it away. Okay, now I can see it right there. I can see the end of it. So this one isn't very long. There's a lot of different lengths of these, okay? So they got like 6, 8, 10, 12 inch ones. I think there's a couple in between, depending on what brand you're using. But the end of it's right there. So I'm gonna try to show you the best I can on the scope what I'm looking at. Okay, if you can see there on the scope, I hope, that is the very end of it, okay? And you can see there where it's attached to the PEX pipe. Okay, so I figured this one would be a little bit longer than that. So I'm gonna punch another hole so I can see more of the pipe. Okay, now I've got a better view of it. I can actually see pretty much the whole stretch. Okay, so now the next step we're gonna do, so the next step will be to go outside and turn the water on. And we'll do a non-pressure test. If you have a big crack in it, you won't need to put a hose on or something like that to test it. It'll be pretty obvious, okay? Okay, now that I have the water on, one of the first things you can probably do is just listen. And I can hear water running through the pipe, but I don't hear anything spraying, so that's a good sign. I can actually reach and touch a lot of the pipe, almost the whole thing actually. And I feel nothing. So positive stuff there. Now some of you will be like, well, it sounds like it's not broken, so what if mine was broken? As soon as I come across one and can make a video, I'll have it pop up top right of the screen right there. Okay, but today it looks like I get to be lucky. And I'm just going to take a look at it in the camera. And I see nothing. So we're going to do one more test. We're doing a pressure test, which means is we're going to put a hose on it and put kind of like a sprayer end or something on it so the water can't come out. So it causes pressure, okay? So we'll test it with pressure. Okay, now it's time for the pressure test. So I've got the hose on, a spray end. I let all the air out so water was running, and then, switched off so the pressure built up. Okay. Now first good sign is I hear nothing. No running water at all. It should be silent. Since I can feel it, again, fingers are dry. We're just going to stick the camera in for the heck of it. Okay, so let's see if we can't fill these holes in with some spackle. Let's see if this works at all. Okay, now I think I'll have my spackle video pop up now. It is quite old. I need to make a new one, I know. Okay, but I've got a textured wall here. So you do not want to take a spackle knife, a putty knife, whatever, and just fill it up and go like that, because you're going to fill in all the texture all the way around it. You're actually going to want to just grab some, since these are holes, all right, with your fingers, and we're just going to fill it in. Okay, that's not perfect, but I'm not going to quit, fiddling with it, because it's going to need a second coat, because these are 3/4 inch holes. If it was smaller, I could get away with it just one time. Oops. It's hard to keep it from falling in the hole. All right, that one gave me a lot of trouble. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to clean out the spackle around it so it's not in the texture at all. So actually I'm going to take a paper towel that I've wet, make this even better, because there's so much here. If it was like a nail hole, it would be so much easier, but these are kind of big. There we go. We don't want any spackle in the texture. Okay, or it'll look like a big flat spot. Okay, so obviously I'm happy because I don't have to cut the wall open, replace the faucet, etc., etc., etc. But like I said earlier, when I get a chance to do that, I will have that video linked inside this one, okay? Because I do need to make a video for you guys showing you how to replace one. And I may end up doing that with the one, on my front yard. So time will tell. Anyways, I really can't stress how important it is to check these things if you're afraid that you left the water hose on when it froze. So it looks like I got lucky. It must have been just off by like a degree or two, and it was okay. So please take a moment, share this video because others really need to see it. Subscribe to my channel, hit that bell for notifications, check out our website, and there's another video for you guys to enjoy. You guys have a great one.